Akira Toriyama is a manga author and artist, creator of Dr. Slump and the world-famous Dragon Ball franchise. He was born in 1955, and he passed away a week ago as of this recording, on the 1st of March, 2024. He was 68 years old. Dragon Ball, along with its feminine equivalent Sailor Moon, was one of the major franchises that led to a mainstreaming of Japanese comics and animation in America. It was an international success, and thanks to frequent revivals in broadcast animation and in theatrical animation, it remains a touchstone for most American fans of the medium to this day. Toriyama's death is a real loss for the art form. Many people have had a great deal to say about the stories he told, their impact on them, and what it means for the medium overall. I'm not one of those people. The style of illustration Toriyama used never really appealed to me. The blurbs, teasers, and tidbits I picked up on the television or later on the internet never really grabbed me. I've actually never watched an entire episode of any Dragon Ball series or read a complete chapter of the manga. And frankly, I don't know if that's ever going to change. As I've gotten older, I've become very picky about the kinds of media that I take the time to consume because my time has become more and more precious to me. And frankly, all of the things that I found unappealing about Toriyama's stories and art before, I still find fairly unappealing. Not that I think there's anything inherently bad about them, I just don't have a great deal of appetite for it. At least not executed in the way he did it. But this is not to say that I owe nothing to Toriyama. Every so often, a person comes along who reshapes a medium or a genre in their likeness. For fantasy, there is Tolkien. For horror, there is Lovecraft. And for the action-adventure manga, there is Toriyama. When I began to take an interest in manga, there were 3 breakout titles on the American scene: One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach. Even for a casual ignoramus like myself, it is very easy to see the obvious connections between those 3 stories and Dragon Ball. The Journey into the West style travelogue that defined Dragon Ball is very much felt in One Piece as well. The protagonists of all 3 series have a lot in common with Goku, the gluttonous, rather irreverent, and somewhat wild and unpredictable protagonist of Dragon Ball. The connections run deeper than that. As of this recording, both Kishimoto, the artist of Naruto, and Oda, the artist of One Piece, have put out statements reflecting on the times they met with Toriyama and the influence both his art and his professional courtesy and personal kindness have had on their careers and their lives. I never read a chapter of Dragon Ball, but I followed Naruto and Bleach from beginning to end, and I hope to be there when One Piece draws to a close as well. In addition to manga and anime, Toriyama also had an influence on video games. Most famously, he was the character designer for Chrono Trigger, one of the most beloved RPGs of its era. Toriyama was influential in other ways. In particular, he had a gift for paneling and laying out action scenes in really impressive and intuitive fashion. Although they're often mocked now, his techniques for showing escalation, how powers build upon each other, are very frequently cited as the foundation for modern shonen storytelling. And while these tropes are hard to manage and often get out of hand, and indeed I've been told Toriyama even let them get out of hand on occasion, they are useful tools, and you cannot expect a pioneer in a field to push it to its uttermost limits. Toriyama was a giant in his field, and now that he's gone, his absence will definitely be felt, even by someone like me who has never really paid a whole lot of attention to what he was doing at the time. In many ways, shonen storytelling was Toriyama's world, and the rest of us were just living in it. Now, the story circle has turned. Others will take up the pen and follow in Toriyama's footsteps. The pillars and guideposts that he laid down will continue to aid them generation on generation until perhaps, eventually, the man who put them there is forgotten. But, as we've seen over the past week, right now he is still fresh in our memory. His friends and students mourn his loss, and for the rest of us, there's nothing left to say but arigatou gozaimasu, Toriyama-sensei. Sayonara.